was born in New York City and grew up mostly in Connecticut. So Connecticut is like East Hampton. It's got trees. It's very suburban. It's about 50 miles outside of New York City. So instead of 2 hours, it's about an hour outside of New York City. Very country-like. It's a suburb. Yes, my wife says it's a suburb of New York City. To be honest with you, because I was born in New York City, my mother would go to a New York City grocery store in Norwalk, Connecticut, specifically to get food. An example would be creamed herring. Creamed herring they did not have in the local, A&P or Stop and Shop, but they had it at Christie's, which was a New York grocery store in Connecticut. It's a kind of well, the herring is a kind of fish, and then they would cook it, and then they would put it in cream and put it in a glass bottle, and my mother would buy it, and you would eat it as a snack on a cracker. And my mother was a cook. My mother was the cook for the family. She cooked, anything from steak to chicken to pork. I have 5 brothers and sisters. Most of them are 6 feet tall. So she had to make lots of food. My father would make Sunday brunch, and that was about the only meal he made.
Okay.
So yeah, my mother was the cook. Oxtail soup, yeah. It's a strange one. My mother used to make it. So oxtail is really a series of bones, right? Because a tail has got a lot of bones and not a lot of meat. So what you do is you cook the bones for a long time. And what happens is the marrow in the bone gets very soft, and the meat around the bone gets very soft. And so you have a boiled soup, which is mostly it's like a beef broth, because it's taken all the stuff out of the tail. You add a couple of vegetables, cook it for 2 days, a long time, so that everything's very soft. And then you pick the bones out of it and you suck the marrow out of the bones. Mainly because it isn't something that most Americans eat. And the fact that my brothers and sisters did not like it. So my mother and I were the only ones who would eat it. Therefore, it becomes a special, I remember my mother. It reminds me of my mother a lot. I get a feeling of happiness that I had a wonderful mother who could cook. And then recently, because she died maybe 5 years ago, it's a slightly sad memory, but it's a happy. What it does is I'm not happy to remember my mother, but I'm happy to remember a happy memory with my mother.